do you pray is a question that has its time and place. Asked at the wrong time, it can elicit some strange looks and perhaps a shaking of the head. Prayers not for the likes of me could be a possible response. Another possible reaction could be, when did God ever do anything for me? And yet, in the right moment, prayer can be a lifeline. Now, the same question opens up the possibility of a conversation, a dialogue, a place to take that which I cannot carry on my own and share it with another. One who can hold the enormity of what I'm going through. And in that moment, the feeling of not being alone can make all the difference. For some reason, we seem to turn to prayer more readily when life is difficult and when we're at the end of our tether. When life is a bed of roses, we feel we can manage on our own. Yet, when trouble knocks at our door or things do not go as planned, we are more likely to turn to a source greater than ourselves for guidance, support, or deliverance. Prayer is a universal language. It is not the sole domain of any group or religion. It is as if we are all hardwired to communicate with the source of our being, whether we believe in God or not. The theologian Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who was arrested and finally executed for being an anti-Nazi dissident, penned this hymn in his letters and papers from prison. We turn to God when we are sorely pressed. We pray for help and ask for peace and bread. We seek release from illness, guilt, and death. All people do, in faith and unbelief. Jesus also turned to God in his hour of need. Of course, this was not the first time that he sought the intimate conversation with the one whom he called Abba or Daddy. Through the ups and downs of his life, Jesus was in constant dialogue with the Creator of the universe. He completely trusted God in all aspects of his life. Yet, when it came to the final stage of his earthly journey, the conversation intensified. Distress and anguish came over him, and he said to those who were with him, "The sorrow in my heart is so great that it almost crushes me. Stay here and keep watch." And then, going a little further on, he threw himself on the ground and prayed that if possible, he might not have to go through that time of suffering. "Father," he prayed, "my Father, all things are possible for you. Take this cup of suffering away from me." Sometimes life is so hard that it becomes overwhelming, unbearable. Let's pause for a moment and think of all the people who are overwhelmed right now. The nurse or doctor who has just finished a double shift. The family member who cannot visit their loved ones in hospital. The shop assistant who has spent the night stacking food shelves. Those who have lost their source of income and are now looking into the abyss. Father, my Father, all things are possible for you. Take this cup of suffering away from me. It's a mystery how prayer works, isn't it? Sometimes there are instant results, a situation changing for the better. The suffering is relieved, the danger is averted. Yet at other times, nothing apparent seems to happen. The suffering continues. The hardship carries on. The disease takes its course. We don't see the fuller picture. Jesus didn't see it either in his hour of need. And at that point, at possibly the lowest point in his life, he chose to relinquish control with these words: "Not what I want, but what you want." There's those empty hands again. There's trust in letting go. When we've done all that's in our power, we are invited to surrender, to allow what is to take its course, to drop into the flow of life and trust that it will ultimately take us to our destination. Bonhoeffer's hymn explores the different occasions when, as humans, we turn to God in our need. Yet in the final verse, he reveals a surprising discovery. God turns to us when we are sorely pressed, and feeds our souls and bodies with his bread. For one and all, Christ gives himself in death. Through his forgiveness, sin will find relief. Take a moment to rest in the present. Notice all that is around you and within. Begin by noticing the things that you're grateful for. Make a list and remember every little thing. The food on the table, the clothes on your back, the roof over your head, the song of birds, the flowing of the river, the spring blossom, the gift of life. Keep going until you have brought to full awareness all that is and all that you have. And if you like, join me in this little song from the Taizé community in the south of France. Stay with me, remain here with me, watch and pray, watch and pray. And now, thinking of others, take some time to send your prayers to those in need, the people and places you know and those you will never meet. Include the planet with all its plants and animals, the rocks and the soil, and also the elements, earth, water, fire and wind. Stay with me, remain here with me, watch and pray, watch and pray. Finally, consider that Jesus is praying these words. Stay close to him in his hour of need. In the suffering of everyone who's feeling oppressed, you are choosing to be in solidarity with God. Stay with me, remain here with me, watch and pray, watch and pray. Come back to this little chant whenever you feel overwhelmed by life, and always end with the affirmation, "Your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven."